Okay, Neandernauts, let's talk crypto news. We are all just, we're some simple apes. All we're trying to do is turn $1 into $2. So let's talk crypto news. There's a lot I want to discuss today, especially with the few weeks of crazy volatility that we've had. And we're finally just starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel, hoping that this, trends upwards. I wouldn't mind, a more sustainable upwards path, but we know more volatility is coming very soon. So today we're doing something a little bit different. I'm trying out a different format. We're going to cover about 6 or so different news topics. I'm going to give context where context is due. We're going to do a brief summary, then we're going to move on to the next news topic. That way you understand everything that's important that you need to know in the cryptoverse. And then after watching this video, let me know if you think that this was a good format, if you want me to do more stuff like this. And it's going to range all the way from the environmental concerns with cryptocurrencies and how people are actually trying to make money off of this, to the crypto market in general, to certain coins going up more than 100% yesterday. There's a lot we're going to cover, and let's just go ahead and hop right in with the first news topic. And that is Marathon Digital is moving to a completely carbon neutral Bitcoin mining facility. So Marathon Digital, who is a US Bitcoin mining company, is planning on housing 73,000 Bitcoin mining rigs at a facility in Texas with help of Compute North for the construction and the operations at this facility. And they say that this move will put their Bitcoin mining at 70% carbon neutral with a long-term goal of making that 100% carbon neutral. So with the launch of their facility, their hash rate is going to reach an average of 10.37 exahashes per second. Now, what does that even mean? You can just think of that as their hash rate is going up, the amount of Bitcoin that they can mine is going to increase. It's that simple. And they're going to aim for 100% carbon neutrality. This is going to be a long-term relationship between Marathon Digital and Compute North in their carbon neutral Bitcoin mining and the push towards that among a lot of environmental concerns that we've been seeing recently. Next up in the news, we have a Marvel and DC comic book artist, Rob Pryor, who plans to burn artwork and then create an NFT during a live stream event. So Rob Pryor, he's not only known as being a famous comic book artist, but he's also worked on huge shows and movies like Star Wars, Terminator, Game of Thrones, tons of other huge stuff. He's teaming up with Mogul Productions and Untraceable Events to host a live stream event where Rob Pryor is going to burn a painting on camera and then unveil the digitized version of that art as an NFT and then sell that NFT exclusively on Mogul's platform. So it's kind of interesting. The painting's going to include money falling from the sky to represent the future of art on the blockchain and other, crazy stuff like that. So it's going to be the first well-known artist to burn his art and then auction off an NFT as that art. Probably something that we're going to see far more often. This event is going to feature other big names in blockchain from film and music and other discussions around this recent NFT boom. And the event is going to be held on Wednesday, April 28th between 5 and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Next up in the news, we have an asset manager, One River, who has filed for a sustainability ETF, a Bitcoin sustainability ETF. So One River is creating an ETF that combines crypto and carbon credits in order to create a carbon neutral ETF. Again, environmental concerns, except they're trying to make some money off of the environmental concerns. So a carbon credit is what you must buy and or own for a large amount of carbon emission. One credit is equivalent to the mass of 1 ton of carbon. So the ETF is going to look at the current carbon emission of Bitcoin, and then the price itself is going to be based on how much it would cost in carbon credits for that Bitcoin. There's no ticker announced for this yet. They've also partnered with Coinbase to manage the Bitcoin assets. Now, there are some critics with this who are saying that combining the carbon assets with financial ones like Bitcoin don't really have much value because it's just greenwashing. And basically, they're just saying that this company is leveraging the recent push for a sustainable future in order to sell their ETF. I'll leave that up to you to decide what you think that is. Further on sustainability, Elon has tweeted again, of course, affecting the course of cryptocurrencies with this tweet and giving a little bit of a push this time. So his tweet said, quote, spoke with North American Bitcoin miners. They committed to publish current and planned renewable usage and to ask miners worldwide to do so, potentially promising. And the crypto market went up a little bit because of this tweet, even though it was already kind of on the upswing before that tweet was even sent out. Next up in crypto news, Spaceflight insurance using crypto. Yeah, you know what? It's 2021, folks. I guess we're living in the future. So crypto derivatives protocol, Opium, and DeFi platform UMA are working together to provide insurance products for SpaceX flights. We are literally living in the future. So with SpaceX small sat rideshare, companies have a cheaper and more accessible way to launch things into space. It's about $45,000 per unit on the SpaceX flight, and this is going to spark demand for insurance on these launches. Now, SpaceX does already provide insurance for these launches at a cost of 5% of the payload. So if your payload is $100,000, then you have to pay $5,000 in insurance. And this new insurance product using the blockchain is going to allow the market to help determine a rate. And then that 5% that SpaceX already charges kind of sets a benchmark for the crypto team, for the DeFi team to try and compete and offer rates lower than 5% of the total payload fee. Now, the exciting part is this is going to also allow for SpaceX enthusiasts to speculate the success of a launch and then to potentially profit off of that launch as well. Now, insurance in DeFi, as dry as that sounds, is actually potentially very interesting. And to help highlight this, I want to go over to the iPad here real quick, and let's do a quick demonstration. So let's talk about typical insurance. Let me draw some people. So this is the insurance company. Typically, people pay into the insurance company and they pool their money. Insurance at its most basic explanation is just the pooling of risk. So you have a bunch of people who don't want to pay for one big risk. They put their money all in one place. That pool of money pays out the individuals that actually happens to. Most people don't have their entire house burned down, but most people have insurance for that. The few people who have their houses burned down have their burnt house paid for by this insurance. Now, with typical insurance, this is the insurance company. You pay in your premiums, but this insurance company has tons of expenses like paying for their staff, paying for their actuaries, paying for all the processes that go on, and then of course they take a profit as well. But with DeFi, we have the potential where instead of a typical brick and mortar insurance company like this, we can have what's basically just a smart contract in between insured individuals. I don't know why I put pants on them or a skirt or something like that. So we have insured individuals who are paying into the smart contract, but then you can also have insurance investors who are willing to hold that risk for a potential return. And what this does is potentially have huge economical benefits where you're not paying for all the same costs as an insurance company typically would, because there isn't as many administrative costs in the middle, it just being a smart contract, because all you need is the two parties and the contract and something feeding this contract the information for the actual insurance agreement. So again, you could have insurance on your home against fire. If your house starts on fire, burned to the ground, your smart contract would then be executed, paying you out as an individual. If your house never burns down, then you don't get paid. Now, obviously, it's much more complex than that, but there's a lot of potential, very exciting things with insurance and smart contracts that I think we'll see in the future, and it's something to keep your eye on. Next up in the news is Polygon and Maker. They saw a huge day. They more than doubled at a certain period in a flash recovery of those two altcoins, and saw some huge deviations in price. There was at one point when I was reading an article about this, the prices fluctuated more than 20% just while looking at the article. Tons of volatility going on. Tons of coins were up a massive amount, but these two were up more than 100% in certain periods of the day. Absolutely nuts. Next, Bog Finance fell victim to a flash loan attack. Now, this is something that's happened before, but Bog Finance BOG token was struck instantly during the attack and decreased from $8.50 to 15 cents almost immediately, roughly losing 98% of its price. Now, the unknown hacker utilized a flash loan exploit, which resulted in him or her or they walking away with $3 million. Now, the Bog Finance team explained that the attacker was able to utilize flash loans to exploit a flaw in the staking section of their Bog coin, BOG smart contract to manipulate staking rewards and then cause an inflation in the supply. Obviously, this guy was a genius, whoever did it, pulled out $3 million. He's probably not going to get caught. It only took them 45 seconds for them to find this and then shut down the hack. But of course, in that 45 seconds, he made $3 million. So tens of millions of dollars have actually been stolen in similar schemes like this in the past. And this is largely because DeFi is still new and very complex. And this leaves smaller DeFi projects, ones that you've probably never heard of, vulnerable to these mistakes and certain loopholes within their infrastructure. And that's just inherently something that happens with brand new industries, brand new ideas. There's exploits, there's things that happen as these kind of kinks work out. We are still in the very beginning of tons of emerging tech here. That's very exciting, but that also leaves it more risky and more vulnerable. So that's going to do it for this update. Again, let me know what you thought of everything, having to do with this video. If you have thoughts, suggestions, leave them down in the comments. I'm open to constructive criticism. Check out the various offers linked down in the description. You can join the Patreon, get things like buy alerts, all my research, tons of stuff going on the Patreon. I'm very excited about that. You can use the same crypto exchange that I use, KuCoin, and save money on your trading fees. You can sign up with Coinbase, get $10 in free Bitcoin. You can make an account with Webull, get 2 free stocks. All you have to do is deposit $100. You don't even have to spend the $100. You get 2 free stocks. You get to pocket that change. So check out those offers down in the description. I would like to thank you for watching, and I hope you have a profitable day.